in.
Hey, Mr. Davison, I was wondering if I could have a few words with you.
Come in, have a seat.
I have a favor to ask of you.
What can I do for you?
Well, there's a girl coming by the office tomorrow, and she means a lot to me. And I feel like I don't have the right words to express how I feel about her. Maybe I could borrow your car.
That'll help with what you have to say. We could, if that you feel that would really help, we can maybe give you use of one of the company sedans. How would you feel about that?
Oh, that'd be great, sir. I think she'd enjoy that.
I'm doing this for you. Now perhaps you might be able to do something for me.
Oh, anything.
You're aware of my feelings about Oblivion, Jason.
Yes, you do love Oblivion.
I've been enjoying it immensely. Young Jared, he's getting quite outspoken.
He does have quite a bit of a mouth on him, sir.
Yes, he does. He seems to have disagreements with some of my views. So perhaps, in future, Jared could be encouraged to maybe not disagree with me.
I think we can take care of him.
You pay him a visit. You do that for me, and the keys will be waiting for you here.
Oh, that'd be great, sir.
Well, you have a pleasant evening, Jason.
Thank you very much.
Room temperature. Hey, can you have someone bring me a fresh bottle of water? Cold? Alright, thanks.
Look at her. She's beautiful. We were so close before. So close.
Wonderful, Laura.
Do you notice anything familiar about her sword?
That's what Rutland was holding.
Except this is just a ceremonial copy. And what do we have here?
Hey, Crispin, what are you doing?
Nothing?
You aren't taking those games that are for charity, are you?
No, I'm just giving these, I'm donating these.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's nice of you. Huh, that's some good stuff there. Wow, Coastal Heroes.
Some of these games
Yeah.
are less than 10 years old.
Wow. So, how are things over at EGM right now?
Typical craziness, typical intern nonsense.
Oh, yeah. Not the fun of the
Interns.
interns.
Oh, yeah.
So, you reviewed Tomb Raider last month, too.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was surprised. I was happy. You know, I think that we all wanted to like it because it's been so many disappointing sequels, and the last game was a train wreck. They tried to add like role-playing elements and things like that, and it just didn't work. It was just like
She wasn't in Tombs?
yeah, she wasn't in Tombs. Yeah, I was happy to see she was in
Tomb Raider in
Tombs.
the city?
Yeah, I thought Crystal Dynamics, they just hit the ground. You know, they brought in like a new, for once she controls like a character after like 1996,
Right.
like full analog control, you know.
Right. Yeah, I never hit a point in the game where I was frustrated with it because she was doing something that I didn't want her to. You know, it's like, oh, Lara, come on, I can't get you to do this.
Like the old games, it was almost like a math problem, getting her from one point to another, because it's like so many grid steps, and then jump, and then you know, you just gotta like plan it out, like get your graph paper out and plan out your route through the levels. But this one, yeah.
Oh, I like that one.
It was nice, but it was in the way.
It looks great, I thought.
It looks really good. Yeah, did you review it on 360?
No, we did PS2.
Okay.
But I played the 360. Yeah, 360. You know, it's not, it looks fine, but it's not like a huge jump over the PS2 version.
Really? Okay, well that's good to know. We aren't being shafted this time around over on the PS2.
Yeah, I mean, they Crystal made PS2 kind of their main platform, so that's where they put all their
they're kind of
efforts.
like, what's their face's Criterion in that regard, because Criterion's done some awesome stuff too with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy with how it looked, and like that it was a lot of puzzles. I mean, because the combat in this game is not I mean, it's not bad, but it's like, eh. So I was really glad that it wasn't the main focus of the title.
Because it's like you fight the same thugs or you fight the same panther.
Right.
Sometimes the panther's white.
Right.
It's a white panther.
And sometimes it's a cheetah.
Or a cheetah. Yeah, I guess it is a cheetah.
Yeah.
Or
in the
puma.
snow, it was a panther, and in the...
Or an ocelot.
Yeah, exactly.
It's always the same
I needed
animal.
ligers. I think you need more ligers in games. Ligers are the coolest animals.
Yeah, that'd be next game.
Yeah.
Ligers
Crystal,
too.
if you're watching, ligers. We need ligers.
Of course you do. Just name a price.
Miss Croft, are you deaf?
I don't know. Let's see. Try begging for your life like you did the last time we spoke.
殺せ！今すぐやれ！
The only things I weren't happy with was the combat, because it's, I mean, it's they keep it to a minimum, and then the motorcycle stages, I don't know how you felt
The motorcycle was, it took me so many times. The first time I was fine to jump onto that stupid train, I couldn't do it. I don't know why, I just kept missing that train jump.
Yeah.
And that was one of the few points where I was just like mad at the game,
Right.
not at my own abilities in the game. I'm like, come on.
I just interviewed the guys for an afterthought scene, because when AGM we like do post-game release interviews.
Right.
And I was asking them, I'm like, these motorcycle stages, what's the deal? Because I played it, sometimes I've actually played them a few times.
Right.
And sometimes they went on forever.
Yes.
And sometimes, like,
that
it was
one
just
right
repeating.
before the train went on for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing.
Who fell asleep at the switch with Crystal? Is this someone's idea of fun? Is this like riding on a motorcycle? It was like the longest loading screen ever. Well, my favorite stage, there's a stage where you go to a King Arthur museum in London, and there's animatronics, and you can activate the animatronics and watch them. And
get it to say stuff.
Yeah.
You have the like background voices.
Yeah, and then the game, it kind of goes off the deep end, because you find a forklift. It gets a little Shenmue. You can like use your
I'm
forklift.
so bad at that forklift. It took me forever.
Yeah.
Smashing crates right and left with it.
Yeah, like you play around with the crates, but then you can actually take it into the dungeon and use it to solve, to get past obstacles in the dungeon. And I thought, this is like really creative. It's like something I never thought I'd say from a Tomb Raider sequel. It's like there's stuff in this game that's like fresh and exciting. You can tell they play a lot of Prince of Persia.
Right, yeah. Lara swinging around on the poles.
Yeah.
I was like,
But that's...
Is she going to run on walls yet next?
yeah, exactly. I was expecting her to find an artifact that would let her rewind time.
Exactly. But it works. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking things that work in other games and incorporating them into your own. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's what we wanted for Tomb Raider.
I was actually kind of bummed out that the game was over so
Yeah.
quickly.
I was me at Halo 2's ending, because Halo 2 left you thinking,
right.
oh good, there's going to be an awesome level after
exactly.
this. And there's not, and there's credits rolling, and then you go play with Lara Croft's outfits, and that's
right.
like you're running around in her mansion, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was kind of a short game, like especially compared to the older Tomb Raiders. I thought this was a good length, you know, it's probably 10 hours or so.
Right, and it was a solid length. It wasn't you weren't like, it wasn't because, you'd forgotten something way back here and you needed to go back and explore something. Like it was a good solid 10 hours.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it being that length. It was just, I was expecting another level. I was actually looking forward to it.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I was like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah.
Now I have to write a review. Damn.
Yeah.
Well, should I let you get back to your issue?
Yeah, I guess so.
All right.
It was nice hanging out.
Good to hang out, Crispin. Stop by again.
Okay, I'll see you later.
See you later.
Hey, Karen?
Yeah.
You know where Dan Shu's office is?
He's right down the corner. Why?
I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Hey, thank you. Who are you?
My name's Mike Nelson. I'm the new Cheats strategy intern.
Oh, okay. So what have you been working on?
Wrote the Godfather strategy guide and walkthrough and stuff like that.
Hey, very cool. I just reviewed that game. Have a seat. Sit down.
Thank you, sir.
So you played through it then?
Yeah, beginning to end.
What'd you think?
Well, I really like the movie integration with it. You know, the developer was able to find a way to make a 30-year-old movie seem fresh and new, like it just came out last summer or something like that. I mean,
so you like the movie integration?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really great.
Were you a fan of the original fiction, the movies?
Yeah, definitely.
See, I'm a big fan. I even like Godfather 3, except for Sofia Coppola's acting, obviously.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite like the integration because it felt really hokey to me. It's like, okay, you're this background character who's in a foreground and he's always hanging around every major event, you know? Mm-hmm. Like when the Don gets shot, he happens to be in the barbershop nearby. Mm-hmm. And then he's the guy who drives the Don to the hospital, and then he's at the hospital, and then he's the guy who delivers the horse's head, and he's just around in every major scene, and it just feels a little bit forced to me, you know? Mm-hmm. But the gameplay was actually a lot better than I thought it'd be, you know? Mm-hmm. Like having played all the Grand Theft Auto games and most clones, I just felt like, well, I liked being able to have a lot more control in each mission, you know? Like when you go in and you want to take over a racket, you know, whether you want to take the guy's head and smash it into the cash register or push him out over a ledge and all that stuff. I thought that was kind of cool, even though after a while all the different venues were kind of similar. It was still kind of exciting to go in and you know, rough people up and take over the businesses and start making more money for the family.
One of the things that I found it easy for me to, you know, write a pretty effective strategy guide was the fact that the building layouts were identical for the most part. I wish there's a little bit more variation in that regard, but I could understand. I mean, in terms of being a developer, it's hard to write. It's hard to have the time to write a different building layout for every different location in the city because it's huge, and to encompass Brooklyn, New Jersey, the main city of New York, it was great.
I remember when I first played maybe the first 2 hours, I'm like, you know, this might be better than Grand Theft Auto. Like, it's actually pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. And then after a while, like you said, it's just like, well, I'm visiting the same bakery as I saw earlier. You know, this is the 10th lookalike bakery that I've seen. This is the 10th lookalike hotel that I've seen. GTA went really overboard in its zaniness, and I appreciate it for what it was, where Godfather was limited by, okay, this has to be somewhat realistic, it has to follow the movie, it has to follow the fiction.
Well, it had the Godfather source material to work with, and so they had a lot to go on to make it seem different than just a GTA clone. You had an actual encompassing story that you could really feel involved with. You know, you're the runner boy for the Corleone family. I mean, it had to be wonderful. To a degree.
I gotta admit, I did get excited when the first time, I think your first or second major promotion where you're talking to the Don, you know, to Don Vito, and he's like congratulating you in that way that he does, you know, just kind of quiet, soft spoken, and then Sonny comes in all loud and brash and pats you on the back, and he's kind of giving you shit, and then all the other guys are around, it's like, hey, welcome to the family.
Yeah. You were able to get James Caan and Robert Duvall to come in and
that's
reprise their
amazing.
characters. That was great. And yeah, the Sonny Corleone missions were great. I mean, pats you on the back like, come on, let's get in the car, let's go take care of some business.
Yeah.
You're just like, yes.
And you don't want to disappoint, because you're like, I know Sonny, and he's a badass, and you just don't want to disappoint him.
Do not want to piss off Sonny Corleone.
Even though I didn't like the way they forced the game into the storyline, I thought it was cool that I felt like I was advancing up the ranks in the Corleone family, because this is my own custom character. You know, this wasn't a character they made for me. It's you created this guy in the vision that you wanted. You gave him his look and his haircut and his clothes, and it's just kind of cool to see that character you've been playing with getting welcomed into this family. Well, just one more thing though before you leave. Just I did ask for cold water, and this is it's actually warmer than my original water. So, you know what? You're new here. It's your first time, so I'll let it go. But just keep it in mind.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Would you like me to take the water back for you, or would you like to...
Yeah, bring me back another cold one, please.
Yes, sir. Would you like me to throw this away for you?
Okay.
Okay. Do you need a new pen?
Yes.
New pen. Okay.
So, Sean, sit up straight, boy. Come on. Sit up!
Alright.
I've called you here because I've been hearing about your escort activities.
Sean, like, where are we? Where are you taking us?
Down the rabbit hole. This is a game called Second Life. Some people wouldn't even call it a game. What it is this giant, massively multiplayer online world. And rather than have, you know, an objective like a game or something, rather than leveling up or anything, you just simply inhabit the world like you would any other one. But you buy real estate, you create things, you can go into business making cars, bicycles, shirts. Basically, when you create an environment with that kind of freedom, it's inevitable that people are going to use it for sex.
Right.
So what I'm in right now is in a section called Amsterdam, and it's a red light district where people that play the game decided that they're going to run strip clubs, brothels, and be call girls or escort service people. The in-game economy is run on what's called Linden dollars, can be transferred via their stock exchange, the Lindex, for real-world dollars. It's just everything. It's like just full-on from XXX to just insane, and they do that by catering the experience to the John's desires or whatever by preparing animations in advance, objects, props. You know, they can make it so the characters do anything, anywhere.
Do they police themselves then?
Basically, this area, because, like I was saying, everything is player created, everything is also player owned, and they actually own it. So someone is paying rent on this entire area, on this massive chunk of real estate. Yeah. So because of it, he's like the Don of this thing, and his rule, he can get you kicked out, evict you, say he doesn't want it. And interestingly, talking to the women, it was one thing that come up. A lot of them are like, you know, we should unionize and do this or that, because there's all these things that they deal with. Some of them have to, they have to go to the strip club for certain hours and be there to keep it entertaining, so that there's someone on the pole at a certain time.
So there's like actually pimps and
yeah,
stuff,
there's actual
like real
pimps.
Life
So
going
yeah,
on.
so he's basically like a procure, you know, the procurers and pimps. What led me to this whole world I didn't even know about is that someone who's basically a John who visits the escorts and stuff made a site where he describes his experiences with each and rates them, you know. And then so a lot of the people like that run other parts of this area kind of got really upset, and they banned him from their areas because they're like, you don't talk about that, you know, you're not supposed to talk about that. And he would go so far as to paste the sort of cyber chat logs that he had during his encounters on the site. And another one of the rules from the game itself is that you can't, that basically all game transactions like that are private are supposed to remain private.
Did you ask any of them if they actually make real money doing this, or is this all just for fun? Or do some of them actually benefit financially?
I did, and the main women I talked to for my story do not use it as a primary source of real life income. They might get a little bit of money off it or this or that.
Seem like
yeah, because actually the rates, when you look at it, they're only about like $1 something per
Right, it's expensive in
session.
Game money,
yeah,
but like it's cheap in real money.
In this part right here, it's kind of interesting. There's this public theater, which is where I got the free popcorn. And you just walk in, and if you want to see a show, sometimes there'll be a lot of people in here. You can sit down if you want.
Streaming video.
and then there's like streaming video.
You know, obviously, Linden Labs knows what's going on. Like, you can't hide a pretty substantial operation like Amsterdam. Right.
I tried to get official comment, and it's basically that this is a game for adults. When you sign up for it, you know, you have to give either a credit card or a cell phone number or something. Do minors have cell phones and credit cards? Certainly do. So it's another one of those kind of things wherever you get into. But they do offer a teen Second Life game. That's different. And then even within this world, entering into, if you look up here, you can see that Amsterdam is labeled as a mature server. So, I mean, it gives you warnings like that and whatnot. But that's the interesting thing, is this, it's such an unwieldy interface. The whole thing is just such a big mess to deal with. And you're like, if people are like having an erotic experience, the last thing they want to think about, is like, well, I'm gonna feel really excited as soon as that picture on the wall loads up or whatever. They're gonna start asking me for money. You'll find that quickly. They'll start asking you for money, and they're desperate for this in-game money. Like when I first arrived in town, I was like, hey, I didn't spend any real money to get anything here. And they're like, well, what about this? And they're like, well, we'll give you our picture for $2. Or, I mean, because they're able to give like JPEG images of their own characters and stuff. And they're like, oh, you can do this or that, you know, really small things, basically like grab my butt for like $3 or something. And it's just like, I mean, what is going on here? I mean, they will do anything for, and not all of them, I shouldn't characterize them that way, all that way, because like, again, like Taboo Heart, who I spoke to with for the story, really emphasized that it's meaningful for her in some other way. It's not just about like this kind of thing. So she won't partake in any of that, you know. And she was actually, when most of the women were really upset about the escort rating service site going up, she actually embraced it, because she was saying that's a chance for the people that are really into it and enjoy it to like sort of get attention to them, drawn to them and stuff, when the other ones who are just kind of like faking their way for their Lindens. When they're done in this area, they go to a regular part of town, and it looks like the Beavers or something, you know. It's just like little track homes and stuff, and then or they run a restaurant or something, or a clothing store out there, and it's like because it's in the context of a world where other things happen, and it's not just pure sex. I guess that adds something to it too. Gives it more than a just strictly porno thing to it. They can build up that as part of a larger narrative for their character, and that's one aspect of their character's virtual life or something. So I think that is, you know, I mean, that's something that came up quite a few times talking to people. I mean, if you think about it, if like any other game had this kind of flexibility, not necessarily for the sex, but in terms of like letting your character do whatever he wants and creating all these things, I mean, that would be pretty cool. It'd be a big draw, but it's kind of like a weird mix of clients for this game. It's like, you know, you've got famous writers like Lawrence Lessig coming in for promotional stuff, and it's kind of the sort of game that will get covered Wired Online and stuff here and there.
Yeah, it's like
and it's like the forefront of, you know, intellectual property rights discussions and whatnot. But at the same time, it's got all this going on.
Yeah.
Come in.
Hey, you got a second?
Sure, come in.
What's with the light? Am I walking in on something here?
You don't like that? All right, come on, guys, come on. Let's get rid of this.
So that thing last week, it's all taken care of.
Good. So let's not talk about that again, okay?
What do you got there?
I'm completely hooked on Field Command. It's cutting into my Oblivion time.
I thought that was called Advance Wars PSP.
A little bit, huh? It's a little bit. It's pretty shameless.
It's totally Advance Wars, but on a PSP. I'm all for it.
No, and it kind of came out of nowhere. I mean, we knew it was coming, but they didn't really. I mean, they didn't really show much of it early on, and it's out like any day now. And I think this is what PSP owners have been really looking for. It's like it's turn-based gameplay. It's got some of the stuff that I really liked in Metal Gear, only without all the card stuff, and then some of the online stuff's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, aside from like the normal head-to-head, you can play this weird It's like when you play chess by email. I mean, I don't actually do that, but I hear that you can.
Right.
And you can like log in and have like 5 simultaneous games going, and you just like do your turn, and then your friend can log in later and take theirs.
You tried it?
Yeah, it works fine.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can play like over the course of a week or 2 or whatever, and it works. It's kind of interesting.
Yes, sir.
It gets quite tough quite early. It seems a bit harder than Advance Wars to me. Like some of the stuff seems like the levels seem bigger and the units. I don't know. The units are fairly comparable. They're not as cute, but they're you know it's the same kind of stuff. But how far have you got with it?
I went all the way through to the end, and like almost all the units are the same except for there's some stealth units that you come across later on in the game that are really kind of cool. Like in the single player game, they don't really make that much sense because like if you're not on offense all the time, then you're doing something wrong, and the stealth units move kind of slowly.
Right.
But like for multiplayer games, they're really cool because you can set up crazy ambushes and like all of a sudden your opponent's dude is just like dying and they can't even see what's shooting.
One of the things I didn't like about Advance Wars was all the chat.
Yeah.
And this, I mean, there's some chat in this, but it's definitely, it sort of throws you straight in there much quicker.
Yeah, it doesn't really have the annoying anime talking heads. I mean, it still has some annoying talking heads, but they're not quite as egregiously bad.
Why don't we try the chess type thing? I got this thing here. I'll set up a game and let's start one. You want to try it?
All right, sure.
Okay. Well, you go back to your office and we'll try that.
All right.
Okay. So, okay. End turn. Opponent's turn. Okay then. It's gonna take a while. Come on, Damien. Run! Run!
Whoa, hey. So long.
Man, we're looking.
Talking about things.
Get
Oh,
over
God damn it. Stop!
Frame rates look bad, huh? Graphics look bad, but you know what? Mr. Davidson disagrees.
God! God! Oh, my kidneys!
Jared, I hope you learned a very valuable lesson today. You mess with Oblivion, you mess with Mr. Davidson. Remember that. Alright guys, let's go.
I regret nothing.